Let's talk about Justice League
Okay.
because we just watched that together, and I think it's an important piece to talk about.
I think that you and I have different opinions on it too, right?
Maybe. What's your opinion?
My opinion on Justice League, because I am such a huge DC fanboy. I love Batman vs Superman. I love Suicide Squad. I know that I'm wrong for those opinions. Those are my guilty pleasure movies. I'm fully aware that they're not great films. Justice League, not a great movie. However, like as far as like the way everything was filmed and some of the editing and story components, but I loved it nonetheless. Whenever I was in the movie theater, I was like smiling, like
you were very giddy.
It was just because to me, just seeing that one scene, and this isn't like a huge spoiler. It's in the trailer when Superman comes back. And the Flash is running towards him. And then Superman's eyes turn and look at him. And, like, the Flash has never encountered somebody as fast as him. And when I saw that, I was, like, grinning ear to ear.
Yeah, that was good.
And that was a good sequence there. I think that, of course, there are some downfalls. But overall, I think I went in there expecting it to be Garbage Town City.
Oh, yeah, me too.
And we were saying that before.
Yeah, we were in line like, this is going to be so bad.
We were with one of our friends, too, and she was like, why are you guys here watching it if you're expecting it to be bad? And we were like, we just got to see for ourselves.
We're like, that's the curse.
Yeah. But I went in there with really no expectations other than expecting it to be horrible, and then I walked out, and I was like, that was fun. I had fun. It's not like a great movie as far as, like, it's not going to change anything. It's not groundbreaking. But I greatly enjoyed it. I had a good time watching it. And I think that's all a movie should do in something like that.
Yeah. I was very pleased with it.
Yeah.
I think it's the best DC Universe movie we've gotten.
Over Wonder Woman?
Yeah, I didn't like Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman was not a great movie. So many plot holes. Bad writing. Granted, Justice League was poorly written as well.
Yeah.
There were a whole lot of dumb things, but it was fun. The Flash stole the movie.
Yeah.
Aquaman was cool. I want their standalone movies before we get any other DC Universe stuff.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited too because it looks like Ben Affleck is going to step down as Batman.
Which is going to be weird.
It's going to be whatever. I think they're going to do that other Batman is Dick Grayson.
Okay, that makes sense.
And he has stepped up to the mantle before, and I mean, we'll see. I don't know. It's a mess, but also, and this segues perfectly into the topic, talking about Ben Affleck. I think that a lot of the big reason too is just like Warner Brothers wants to distance themselves from people like him that have these allegations, and it is a good segue into what we're ultimately talking about today. I would too.
Yeah, it's a smart move.
I hope people can understand, because like I am a big fanboy. But the average moviegoer, in the sense of like not a comic book fan, not like I'm not saying people are dumb that don't hear that. I'm just saying like the average moviegoer who doesn't follow the comic books, like Dick Grayson, like Batman's Bruce Wayne, but Dick Grayson has stepped up and been Batman in the comics.
Yeah, Batman's
before.
many people.
Yeah, so I just hope that people follow that, but it might be Jake Gyllenhaal. Which I would be...
That'd be interesting.
Super down with.
I'm going to think about that.
Yeah.
Today we're talking about the Hollywood scandal. We briefly covered it. Well, so when we talked about it before, from my understanding, there was only one out, which was Harvey Weinstein.
And we did talk a little bit about Ben Affleck.
Okay. But since then, oh my gosh, things are blowing up. Hollywood is getting crazy.
Yeah. I don't even know
how do you feel? Like, okay, here's how I want to frame this. I want to frame this more not as like just talking about Hollywood and the controversy and everything. We are gonna, like, obviously because of the subject matter, we're gonna have to talk about it a little bit, but more so the way I want to look at it is what this looks like for us, because that is very much like a scene that we want to be a part of one day.
Yeah.
So, like, as someone who and maybe this is saying a lot, but I'm just going to assume this, like, who has always looked up to Hollywood.
Yeah.
And to some extent has always been like, I want to be a part of that. Like, where are you right now? Because it's still very, I know that we haven't, like, nothing too new has come out in the last, like, week or so, but it's still very fresh. Yeah, you're right.
Okay, that's a good question. I think first off, to frame it like this, though, I want to say to anybody listening that has experienced anything like this, I haven't experienced anything like this. I don't know what that is like, and I empathize and sympathize with you to like the fullest degree. And as somebody who hasn't, we want to know these things, like how can we go into a field like that, if that makes any sense, like what would that look like for you? How do you expect people to handle situations like that? As for me though, and like the way that I look up to people, I'll tell you the Kevin Spacey one was really hard.
Yeah, that hit hard. That was tough.
And you knew this before. I told you this many times. My celebrity man crush was Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
I looked up to him and his work. I thought that he was like this really stand-up dude. And because you assume that the people that you're looking up to in Hollywood, especially in our case where we're trying to break into this industry and we want to make content that makes people feel good and makes people think and all this stuff, but that one was hard. It really was.
Yeah, I agree.
It hit me very hard because I was like, just and two, and I definitely talked about this last time. One of my biggest dreams is to work for Screen Junkies, and I don't know if you know about that. I know that you do a little bit, probably in the context of this conversation, but the guy in charge of Screen Junkies, and if you guys haven't watched any of their stuff, please do. It's still fantastic, and they addressed all these issues very well. But they do like honest trailers and movie fights, and that's something that I really enjoy. People just sit down and debate movies. And that was like something that Gabe and I had talked about when starting this podcast. Like that was something that we wanted to try, not to emulate and steal their idea, but like just, we're like, yeah, that'd be something cool if we did that a couple episodes. And so I say all that because like that was a huge inspiration for me because it didn't seem so far off as Kevin Spacey. It seemed like a step down, not in a bad way, but like a little more obtainable for what I want to do as far as like my career. And it came out that the head guy in charge that was like the face of the videos was like taking advantage of women in situations, and that one sucked too. That one really sucked. But I could keep going, but I feel like I've just talked a lot.
No,
so.
I'm in a place now where I'm like, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, very confused, very like. I don't think it's unfair to say that I'm hurt because like I have no dealings with Hollywood or anything, but like as someone who has always looked up to that, and like these are the people that like I want to be, and it's like, well, not anymore. Like now they're gross people. Yeah. And like that's a terrible fucking thing to do. Yeah. Even like, and this is not so much, I mean, he was part of it. The one that really fucked me up was Louis C.K. Yeah. Especially because, like, he's one of my favorite comics. Like, I think he was in the peak of his career. Like, and damn, he took a big hit. Yeah. And it's weird to me because, like, that situation happened in 2003. And I've been listening to people. It was like a comedy festival when it happened, and everyone there knew that it happened. And it's just now coming out now, which is, it's crazy to me that like so many of these things happened so long ago and have been like continuing to go on, and it's just now getting out.
Well, I think firstly, I want to say also, listeners, as we're talking about this, if for whatever reason you're offended by the way that we're talking about this as being hurt by these things, just understand too that like we're coming from a place of like we really looked up to these people, and that's why it's hard for us. But that being said, that doesn't matter. Ultimately we both care about the fact that these people feel that they can finally say something about it, which I think is why it's just now coming out. That's the more important thing. The most important thing to remember is that, like, I am glad that people feel comfortable coming out and talking about the fact that stuff was done to them, and that's, I mean, it's unacceptable behavior.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is crazy though that it's finally, you know, it's 2017. That happened in 2003.
Yeah.
The Kevin Spacey thing happened back, I want to say, in like the 90s.
Yeah.
And that's just insane. Also, the jokes about Kevin Spacey's time to come out, that was
so dumb.
It was I don't even know.
Yeah, it's so crazy to me. I genuinely despise the fact that those things happened to people.
Yeah.
But like it is still like incredible to me that one person says, "All right, this isn't cool. Like, here's what's going on," and then everyone else is empowered and can bam, 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 and you hear all these things about the. I think we're in like the 20s now of
oh yeah,
shit
we were
people.
looking at that list before we started, and we can read some of the names a little later, but the list is growing daily, I think.
Yeah, it is legitimately crazy.
Yeah.
How much this is going on. And like it scares me that was just the culture of Hollywood.
Yeah.
Like that's just what you did.
I think though too, and I think we're looking at it with a little bit of like blinders on, because like we hear Hollywood and we're like, oh, that's what we want to do, but unfortunately it happens daily everywhere.
Yeah.
I think the reason that it's so in the limelight with Hollywood is because people who aren't like Gabe and I, in the sense that like they're not trying to be directors or actors or in the industry at all, but like those people looked up to them too. I mean, I know that
it's household names.
Yeah, it's like it's household names, and that's just, it's crazy and very disheartening. But I say that to say, you know, it happens all the time, and I think that talking about it and the fact that it's coming out now more is good too, because I don't know, it's hard, and I don't want to misspeak because it's such an important issue, but just like, I don't know, maybe and we are both very young, but 3 or 4 years ago, if you heard somebody make an inappropriate joke about a girl in high school, you would write that off.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But I think now that it's coming out to light more, people are like defensive in the best way.
Yeah. Now people are like, yeah, that's not cool.
That's
like
not
you
an
can't
okay
do
thing
that
to say or do, and I hate that's the fact. I'm sure, and I can't give you any instance, but I'm sure at some point in my time I've heard somebody say something inappropriate about a woman and not said anything, and that makes me sad, but also in some way like happy too, now that like it's being talked about more, and you can absolutely make a difference and say something.
100%. But it's in like, the darkest time. Like I am hopeful now that Hollywood is making a change.
Yeah.
And there is about to be like room for new up and coming like filmmakers and stuff that can fill those spaces that are going to push it in a positive direction and not do shit like that.
And make sure that behavior is just known as being unacceptable on a set.
Yeah. Just or in life in general. Yeah,
but I'm talking in the framework of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But yes, life in general, most importantly. But in the context of what we're talking about, like a set, no, get out of here. If I'm ever